Good night, Belizeans at home and abroad. This is the Belizean Affairs Show number 496. I'm sorry, 476. I'm trying to get to 500 too quick. I was saying 496. But that's like 20 more shows beyond what I need to correct myself with because we're at 476. 476. Thank you for tuning in tonight to our presentation. Uh, our chairman for the night is not available, and we have a substitute chairman who will be coming in with a different program. And in the interim or meantime, I'm going to go ahead and start the program and do the preliminaries as we normally would do. That is, we'll say a short prayer, and then after that, I'll do a reading and probably a few comments before our chairman graces us with his presence. Uh, I don't see anyone else in the background yet, so I'll just proceed. I'll bow my head and say the prayer. Divine loving Father, we thank you for the privilege to come before thy presence once more, to ask that thou hear our expression of gratitude and thankfulness to you for having given us the privilege of life, first and foremost, and secondly, for granting us the opportunity to still be alive among our family members, friends, and loved ones. Please bless our family members, our children, our grandchildren, our great grandchildren, those of us who have. Please bless our wives and other significant ones, those who have. Please bless our um, husbands, those who have, and other significant ones. We pray that thou must bless our brothers and sisters, cousins, uncles, aunts, and all extended family members and friends. Bless our country of Belize, its people and leadership, as well as this country, its people and leadership, and the rest of humanity, especially those who are in danger where there is war and people are losing their limbs, their lives, and their liberties. We pray that thou would be merciful unto them. We pray that thou would bless those people who are in earthquakes and hurricanes and tornadoes and all manner of pestilence on the face of this earth. Those who have need of food and clothes and shelter, please provide for them, we pray. And that thou would bless this program tonight, that whatever we have to contribute to our Belizean brothers and sisters at home and abroad and others, that it may accrue to some positive public benefit on their behalf. For we ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen. I don't see any one of our panelists, additional panelists, or chairman as yet, so I'll proceed to do the reading. That's what I'm looking for. I'll do a reading from, let me see, one of these books here. Let me see, what I'm going to go find. Isaiah. All right, we got a new book tonight for a change. Um, Let me see what chapter I'm going to look at. Spare me a second here, please. Yeah, okay. I'm going to go ahead and read Isaiah chapter 6, starting at verse 1. Let's put on an additional reading aid. And it reads as follows. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Verse 2. Above it stood the seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered the feet, and with twain he did fly. And one cried out unto another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And that is the end of our reading for tonight. Uh, I don't see our chairman yet or anyone else, so I'll just proceed to. Oh, um, can I be spared a minute or two just to include the other um, a connection to the other platforms for other people to see the program as well? I just need to enter this stuff here and want to make a couple of quick changes or some modifications. Okay, that's good enough. Let's see. Do that. Go in. Edit. Let's do editing and let's go here quickly. One, two. Using up here the show number 4. Mm-hmm. This is for 76. 76 yeah. Let's see. Just a second, please. Um, Wednesday 19th. 19th. Mm, it's 26. That should do. Oh, all right. Before I forget. Be a mistake. These are corrections. Okay. Okay. So I'm ready to roll. Still don't see what chairman yet, so I'll just proceed. So that's it. Okay. So now I'll go to the next device and hopefully find what I was need here. Okay. Okay. Until the chairman shows up, which is probably, let me see, it's going to be maybe another 10 minutes or so, I would guess. I would like to take the opportunity to present a small little stipend here from comments made by the Auditor General. Um, this article was published, I think it was about a day or so ago. And oh, I don't have on my headset. I'm ranting on and ranting on. And didn't have my headset on, so now I can roll. I reposted the article, and it came actually via or by way of Love Television in Belize. And the article started out by saying, as the audit continues at the Ministry of Defense, comma, Love News understands that the primary findings are pointing to several other people who may have played a role in, in several other questionable contracts and transactions. Uh, in Belize, we are all aware that we have a major problem in terms of contracts award and payment process and procedures relating to the Department of Defense, BDF, Belize Department of Defense, and the various companies that they're involved with who provide them services on behalf of the government and whose services are paid by the government. Uh, Not only in the BDF do we have these problems, but we have since found out that we have problems in many other departments as well. So I'll proceed to read the rest of this article here. The Auditor General, it is said here, she stressed. I'm sorry. Did I pass something? I think I probably left out a portion. Let me take the privilege of reading the whole thing from beginning again, because in the middle of my comments, when I stopped just now, I tried to start off again the reading, but I may have missed a little piece. Let me start it again. As the audit continues at the Ministry of Defense, Love News understands that the preliminary findings are pointing to several other people who may have played a role in several other questionable contracts and transactions. Auditor General Marie Rodriguez confirmed that additional, I don't see nobody in the back, that, that additional players have surfaced, but she would not identify them or say exactly what auditors have found. She stressed that the work is still underway and no final conclusions have been reached. The audit team, she goes on to say, hopes to wrap up its investigation by the end of September. It is also then that a determination can be made on whether or not any of the findings should be sent to the police. Of course, after she finishes that particular endeavor, she's also supposed to send it to the House of Representatives. And it is my presumption that she may not necessarily give that particular report to the clerk of the House, but that, as speculated previously by the Prime Minister, he was expecting to receive that report. And then I think he may end up taking it to Cabinet, discuss it in Cabinet, and then forward it to the House of Representatives for some resolution or determination in terms of whether they're going to change rules, regulations, laws, or whatever they have to do to make sure that people who are committing these type of crimes against the society and the country as a whole suffer the consequences of their criminal conduct. That is to say, as of right now, we do have laws on the books that should be able to address these matters. But as we have seen in the past, at least most current or recently, there's a tendency in the administrative branch of our government, because remember we have three branches of government: the judiciary, the legislative, and the administrative. And we have found that in the administrative part of our government, there's a tendency to take these reports, find a way to dance around in circles, and to have the people who are involved with this malignant behavior to somehow or another become exculpated from their criminal conduct, which is unfortunate because our country is too small and we should not have to deal with this type of issues with people believing that they are above the law and or they can relate in such a manner with a level of disdain and corruption immunity, because the Constitution itself says that people are not supposed to find themselves, especially government officials and high ones at that, supposed to allow their office or their position to come into disrepute. And that goes from the governor general all the way down to prime minister and other ministers and other ministers of state and other CEOs and other heads of department or other employees in any of these particular departments, from the lowest rank to the highest rank, so long as they're involved in exercising any powers of governance or carrying out any policies of state, they're supposed to conduct themselves in an honest, forthright, and honorable way. It goes on to say here, the audit team, she said, the Auditor General, who is a female, by the way, for right now. And by the way, she had been given recently, I think it was a 30-year contract, which is obscene and beyond the pale. And on that basis alone, for her to have been given such a contract, which is not the standard process or procedures or protocol, because no government is elected for more than 5 years for each term. And no government in office should be giving any private contracts or personal or special contracts to any individuals or entity that relates to the government practices that goes beyond their 5-year term. Now, having stipulated that doesn't mean that that's the way these jackals behave, because we have seen that they don't behave like that. In the case of this young lady, who is a familiar person to one of the ministers then, she was able to be given a 30-year contract, only now to find herself having to go and investigate the very same department that is led by the person who she is a constituent of. Which is why I'm led to believe that, like the other previous occasions, nothing will become of this. Because somehow or another, like as in the case of the Budna matter, after 2 investigations were done and the file was given to the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecution for prosecution purposes, she was able to say the file had less than nothing, which meant that whatever had been discovered during the course of the investigation was whitewashed to the point that what was given to her had no merits or basis for her to go forward with any option to prosecute. It was a faulty file that they delivered to her. And the only other option she would have now is to direct the police department to go back and do another investigation on her behalf and to bring or find potential evidence in order for her to move forward to prosecute. Other than that, that's the end of that game. There will be no prosecution if there's no evidence. And with what we, the public, saw with our own eyes, we are being led to believe now that we should not believe our own lying eyes, because our eyes lied to us. We should believe what these jackals concocted. Instead of some of them going to jail for their criminal contempt and criminal actions and behavior, they're laughing at us, the general public. So what we saw isn't what they can prove after having done 2 investigations in the Budna issue. So how much more, and in other issues as well. So how do we expect that this poor young lady is going to be able to do what she needs to do to provide investigative information to prosecute the people that are responsible for giving her that 30-year contract in the first place? They cut the knees from under her. And then they're sending her to walk or run and go and get the job done. This young lady is being put in an intense situation. Of course, more recently, she had came out and said, well, for her to be able to do her job correctly, now listen to the exculpation that is being provided. For her to be able to do her job correctly, the accountant general will need to be able to provide her the accounting, the proper and complete or effective accounting process by which she will be able to measure then as the auditor general in her audit to see where the mistakes or errors, omissions, or outright skullduggery took place. Whatever is delivered to her will not have the substance for her to be able to do her job completely and effectively. So by the time she is finished, she will be shortchanged, and the outcome of that investigation will produce no effective, possible, culpable individuals or entity to be prosecuted. Don't say I didn't tell you so, because it would not be the first time either. We are having a repetition of the same type of behavior patterns over and over and over. And it's not just one department as I'm speaking about right now. It's quite a few other departments. And the deeper they're digging, or the more people who are inclined to be what they call them, I'm sorry. People who expose the information then, okay, to the public. Whistleblowers, they call them. That's the term I was looking for. There are many people who are working in government who, if it is known that they were the one that provided these documents, original documents at that, for example, some of these departments would try to prosecute them under what you call secrecy acts for disclosing government information. But how else can we, the public, get to know about all these conniving and all these criminal conduct that they're carrying on with behind the scene, if they are going to intimidate all possible whistleblowers from telling us what's going on behind the scene, and using some of the same individuals then to cover it up after it becomes public, or to distract or divert from it, so that people can't be prosecuted and no example can be made to be able to stop this kind of onerous behavior. I don't see our chairman for tonight yet. I presume he might need a few more. What happened, he has to drive from his workplace after work is finished, and then get to his location for him to be able to get on the show. So I'm saying this because I have to alert the public that it is not that he may not want to show up, but that he may have a little difficulty being on the show in a timely manner. But he's somebody that has been with us before, in whom we have a lot of trust and belief, that having volunteered for tonight's program as chairman, and I spoke with him not too long ago, not more than few minutes ago, and he told me that yes, he was going to come on, but a little late because he has to get from where he's at work, like I said, to his location where he can, sign in and be on the program adequately. And that's the reason why I'm trying to fill in currently some of the time to afford him the opportunity to not have to rush and maybe end up in an accident or something, and then we still don't end up getting him, just because of rushing. So I would like for him, if he's somewhere in the background listening or hearing us, that he should take his time a little bit, make sure he gets where he needs to be safely, and hopefully at that point then he'll be able to grace us with his presence and his program as well. I don't know how much more I should go on with this particular point, because I don't want the program to be a divergence. I see we have a next senior panelist and co-engineer for the program, Mr. Gregory Brackett. I would like to turn over to him for his self-identification. Are you, Mr. Brackett?
Thank you. Good night to you, sir. I want to say good night
You're,
to
wel-
your
you're welcome,
people
sir.
at home and abroad. Thanking you
Good
for
night.
tuning in to this 476th edition of Belizean Affairs. I go back to you, sir.
Uh, Thank you very much, sir. I just need to pull up something here quickly, but I would like to read. Hopefully, I can get that done before the chairman shows up. And okay, um, I'm trying to retrieve my copy of the electronic version of our Constitution, because I wanted to read something from the Constitution in regards to what the Constitution says about these disgraceful behavior or patterns that we were talking about earlier, in regards to what the Auditor General and Inspector, the Auditor General and the Accountant General is trying to parse in the exercise of, carrying out their responsibility to us, the Belizean people. Um, I want to go to.
Well,
Uh, uh, yes, you was about to say something just now, Greg.
to put that in one sentence, we are
Uh-huh.
looking at a no confident government.
It's well. I would wish that the cabinet members can stiffen up their backbone and come to that conclusion as a matter of procedures, but I'm not too sure that they will follow through. I yield back, sir. Um,
Well,
your comment.
it does not really matter about cabinet because we need to remember who put them there. And the same way we put them there, we can take them out. But meanwhile, you're
But
looking
that
at. Let me.
I got it. I got the information. But to further on your own comment, I'll let you finish up. I'm not going to take long. Um, it is true that we the people put them there and we can take them away from that. But to do so constitutionally, as regards to under the Representation of the People's Act, is where we are given the privilege to recall or elected officials. For us to get that recall put into motion, or not only put into motion, but to have it done, would require the very same in, members of government to facilitate us getting that done, because we have to collect the signatures, send it off to the Governor General. The Governor General have to take those signatures, send them off to the Election and Boundaries Department for them to do the counting and validation of the signatures. Then the Governor General has to issue a writ, to the uh, government for them to put in place whether or not we're recalling one or two or three or how many different individuals that we can come up with a valid um, election names and numbers, and then after that, then the government have to call the election or by elections for those particular individuals, or as many as we can get. And I'm not too sure that we'll be able to get enough of them recalled to be able to fall, make the government fall. So all the exercise will do is just fulfill our rights to be able to have it done. But unless we can get enough of them to the point where the government falls, then they'll still continue to govern and they'll still continue to exercise the same behavior. You know, I yield back, sir. Keep
Well,
up.
well, that might be so, sir, but
Uh,
I believe that
uh, Greg, go ahead because I see the chairman is about to command. So just go ahead and finish up your thoughts and close out, or turn over to the chairman when you're finished with your thoughts.
right. What I was about to say to you, sir, is I believe we have enough ministers that can be recalled and they would not have a majority. I want to say good night to you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to welcome you on behalf of us sitting here virtually to Belizean Affair Show number 476, sir. The floor is yours, Mr. Chairman.
Before Mr. Chairman, before you start, sir, and do your self-identification, can I just close out one thought that I had that I was dealing with? I was about to read from the Constitution, but I don't think I should go ahead and do that anymore. Or I think even though I opened it and I promised that I was going to do it, in the interest of sticking with your program, I would like to defer that and just ask a forbearance and an excuse from the general public that listens to our program. I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Morrison?
Yes. Good
Yeah,
evening.
okay.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
It's
Good evening.
always a pleasure sitting here. I hear a little bit of a sound of a background sound. Thank you.
Sound like a
Um,
music.
yes, yes.
Sound like music or something.
It's always a pleasure sitting here with you guys and to um, just have this discussion. We have 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, on topics and issues that are so vitally important to the country and to the well-being and the people of Belize. You know, we have put so many important and significant topics just in the last 2 weeks, as it dealt with so many trying issues that deals with our governance, it deals with our society, deals with our people. At every level we try to find a way to address these issues and to bring the people into the conversation, and that's what we hope to do tonight. There are two things that I've been looking at that are so much facing us in this time, and one of them is a little bit of a touchy subject because it actually deals with the Creole people and probably the Garifuna people of Belize, and what I've been seeing, a systematic elimination of them from from full participation in our governance, and I'm talking from the public sphere of things that I've been seeing, particularly in this current government. It seems to be an issue. And so I want to touch on that a little bit and the importance of that as it relates to the 10th of September celebration. As we know that it was mainly the Creole um, people that were part of the enslaved population that would have participated with the enslavers to fight off the Spaniards that were attacking the country of, well, it was not even fully a country. It was the Bay of Honduras settlement, as the British had called it. And then the other issue I want to talk on a little bit, if we get some chance and some time, because I don't know how long we'll be going for, but is the situation we've been seeing in the rivers with all these marine lives um, dying due to contamination and pollution. and
Mm-hmm.
the failure to still, at this stage, I think it's almost a month since the first um, set of killing of the marine and wildlife in the river has showed up, and up to this point, our government cannot give us a definitive understanding and clarity on what they think happened. We're just, it seems like they're never proactive, they're never willing to share with us what they learn, and it seems that often they are protecting someone. The behavior and the actions of them is
Mm-hmm.
often that they're guarding something and
Mm-hmm.
protecting something. All we are asking for them to do is to, since they have the resources, to investigate and come back and inform the people what their suspecting or what their science is telling them could be the cause. There's nothing definitive at this point, but we're not hearing anything from them. We hear many stuff that just buttresses and conjectures and stuff of possibilities when I think we all kind of have an idea what's going on. So anyway, gentlemen, that's those are the issues I want to talk about a little bit. And but before I want to say that what I've seen recently in terms of the Creole population and what's going on within our society, we have seen that government have, I won't say encouraged, but they have allowed this gang situation. And this is not just this government, because we know they use the gang people as their enforcement at times. But
Mm-hmm.
we have seen that they have allowed to some degree this situation to go unabated. Yes, they do their roundup and their arrests and the harassment and stuff, but what we need in something like this is true planning and overall institutional solutions to these problems. These gangs did not show up just one day, and
Mm-hmm.
so the solutions to it has developed and evolved over years, 20 years, 30 years, maybe even 40 years, maybe sometime right after our independence, and we're going on 45 years. So we need to kind of have government gives us an act through a plan that will remove the systematic and institutionalization that this system have become so entrenched in our society. And countries with worse case of gang problem have been able to resolve it. So it takes the will, it takes the commitment, it takes the financing to sort of make these things slowly get addressed and redressed, and moving the society and the individuals back to a normal progress within the society. And so part of it is definitely going to be funding. That's definitely going to be part of it. And we remember just recently, the prime minister came out and was uh, expressing concerns about the $3 million that was being spent to kind of keep some of the um,
Employed.
gang gang people employed in doing cleanup work and grass cutting and different type of activities that was helping the community and individuals. So, gentlemen, I rambled on for a little bit, but I want your participation and probably if you have some insight in some of those that I outlined, to just have us share those views and ideas, and then also see what possibly we can do to encourage and our government to have greater participation and to make sure that, as I said, we are not just sidelining Creole. And I know it was an unfortunate statement when the Prime Minister made the comment to Yaya some time ago when we were talking about the participation in the constitutional reform, that the Creole was not even majority. And he said it such callously,
Mm-hmm.
callous um, disregard for a population that was the mainstay of the People's United Party. If he doesn't know the history of the People's United Party, then he should know that it was built on the backs of the Creole people, and not just the ones in Belize City and Belize District, but throughout the region, throughout the districts. Because at one point, Creole had, during the days of the 50s and such, when the party was forming, we were very heavily still in the logwood trade and in the harvesting of it, and it was a Creole population for the most part that supported that trade and were employed in it, and they were scattered at that time throughout the district. And it was only after some hurricanes and stuff that people moved more to the city, and after that trade had significantly reduced. So I'll let
Mr.
you go ahead.
Mr.
I'll
Chairman,
let you go.
can
Yes.
I just make a quick sentence? I don't want to get a monopolize trying to grab a first chance, but just
No.
what you mentioned about the lumber thing. BEC was the last major lumber cutting company in the Belize district or Belize city itself. And I can recall during my time that we used to have a lot of the lumber coming down the river like it used to be done in old days. It was still going on when I was
Hmm.
young, and they were
Yeah.
still cutting a lot of lumber in BEC lumber yard to be
Hmm.
shipped out on the ships. And so what you mentioned about it was just recently that that slowed down a little bit, and that the Mennonites they took over that industry of cutting the lumber and selling it to Belize locals for or milling it so that they can build houses for
Hmm.
the Mennonites houses them and for local Belizeans to go and buy lumber at the small local lumber yard for us to repair our old houses and so on. But the bottom line is that it's just recently that the Mennonites and then the Chinese and others came in and was taking out lumber, but not to sell to local Belizeans. They were
Right.
taking out the lumber to export abroad.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what you mentioned about that lumber thing being the mainstay of the Creole people is 100% and was just as of recently too going on. I yield back,
Yeah.
sir.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Gregory Brackett, if you want to jump in and share some thoughts on it, I would appreciate it.
Greg,
Yeah.
this is, I think
I
his
think
phone
he,
is up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Greg,
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
But looking back at the history of Belize when it comes to log wooding and lumber, I have grown as a part of that, going swimming and these logs that was coming through the river and was processed at the Belize sawmill run by Belize, an estate company. In fact, I used to work for them. I used to be one of the guys who goes on board the ship and do auditing for them, and junior accountant as a pay clerk. Um, I want to say that if we look back in time, majority of the houses built in Belize was made from wood, and I can say we have some still standing today
mm-hmm.
in our country. Uh, really history to outlast some major hurricanes
Colonial houses.
still standing. So when you brought that up, I myself can relate to that, as I was around when Hattie Hurricane came and saw the devastation and all that. But as time passes, when we look back at these things, as you said, we also have to look at the minimization of the people we used to know. Majority of them are not around, as we can see Belizeans, what we call Creole people, beginning to become minorities in our own country.
Hmm.
I go back to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You're so right, Mr. Brackett. We have become the minority, as the Prime Minister said. And you know, the problem I have with it is not that it has happened in less than a generation, really. Because
Hmm.
when I was a young man growing up, um, I think the Creole population was like 65, 70% of the total population. And what has systematically happened is we have been an open border, open gate, welcoming to various influx of people from Central America to help them and to address some of the civil unrest and guerrilla activities that was happening in those countries of like Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua over the many years starting in the 70s and 80s and then um, despite our laws, we have consistently regularizing and making citizenship of people that claims our country. When I refer and to Guatemala and Honduras, so we have some real issues that have put us into this position, and I think that while we are a minority now in our own country, the Creoles and as such, there still need to be some understanding and recognition of the role we played in ensuring this territory so that we do have a country we could call Belize and not Belize. And that's one of my big pet peeve about when we go internationally many times and particularly in Central America that our country is referred to as Belize rather than the proper and correct name of our country, Belize. So I go to you, Mr. Leonard Brackett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Um, I'd like to say that it is not by accident, omission, and or by oversight that we are where we are today in terms of the Belizean Creoles having become a minority and or in addition to becoming a minority, to be constantly marginalized in a country where we were the majority, as you, I think it was Greg that mentioned earlier, at one point in time. And at the end of the day, the reason why it's turning out the way it's turning out, people can say it's a malevolent effort on the parts of devious people. But I wouldn't even go that far, even though I think that's the case. I wouldn't even go that far. I would say that it is all a political game that's being played out that end up with us in the situation that we are as Creole people. Some of the Belizean people complain about some of the Creole people that left after Haiti because of the dire situation that the country was in as a result of the Haiti hurricane. That was just another way of helping what our constitution, as I think it was you, Mr. Morrison, that, Mr. Chairman, that referred to the constitution being violated, despite the fact that the constitution speaks to not giving citizenship or regularization to people who have avarice and contempt towards our country and are claiming our country as being their patrimony and would like to dispossess us, the Belizean people, of that territory by the Castellanos people from Guatemala. And this is not all the people in Guatemala that are so adamantly against the existence of a small country like Belize as a next door neighbor. What they want is the territory. They don't want the people. I live in Guatemala 7 long years. And all they have always said is that Belize belong to them and they will get it by reason or by force, and they don't care about the people. They can go and drown themselves in the Caribbean Ocean as far as they are concerned. All they want is to make sure that they acquire back their territory that they have a belief belongs to them. Because according to them, Spain owned that territory. I don't know under what legal or justification, other than the fact that I know that there was a skullduggery that took place, which was not legal, legitimate, and or lawful or ethical. But behind that skullduggery, they're trying to claim that because Spain should have had possession of the territory, and we ended up with possession of that territory, and we Belizeans now, as a small country, are smaller than Guatemala, that now they have an opportunity, without the British being present to back us up or defend us, they have an opportunity now to pressure us into giving up the territory, or they can come and take it on their own. It's a travesty that, as bad as all of that is, we have our very own so-called leaders elected by us who are conspiring against us with this foreign agenda and undertaking. When in fact, they as our leaders should be looking out for our well-being and interests. But because they want to get elected as often as they want, and they are now saying that they don't need us anymore to elect themselves or to get elected, the people that they are bringing in are the ones that they're now depending on to elect them because they are now the new majority. They have changed the demography of our country in such a way that I don't want to say the wrong word or say something that is not decent or, you know, I'm getting a little hot under the collar and I think I better give it up before I end up expressing myself in a dishonorable way. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, if
Yes,
I
sir.
may,
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
I want to say that when we speak of Belizean becoming minorities, we must look at people who migration. We must look at people who has studied abroad and remain abroad, and we must look at why is happening.
Yes, most definitely.
I believe that even though we have Belizeans who have migrated, they have still served our country with great kindness. But what I want to say is the cause of this is the lack of governments since 1981, past and present, to create long-term jobs. That is one of the key elements to all that is happening in Belize. Crime rate also has to do with that. There is no economical stability for a Belizean family the way our country is being run since 1981.
Mm-hmm.
The government has never invested in the Belizean people in early childhood education. They have never invested in college graduates because Belize was always run on abundance and we had abundance. But with all the money, the country has been reaped and there is nothing to show. Governments have never built no factory, has never invested in technology, and that is why we are where we are today. Then I want to go on to say, when we speak about the Constitution, and I'm speaking presently to show you, when we speak about the Constitution and birthright Belizeans, And when we have government as our present government who goes and sign our country as being a safe country, and
Mm-hmm.
we are getting foreigners from different countries in the world coming into Belize,
Crim-
I think it makes no sense because you sign that, whereas you have Belizeans who migrated, have a green card and might not have get their citizen, and they are being picked up and deported back also. So it's a double whammy. You are taking foreigners as a safe haven, and then what happened to the Belizean who is coming back home? I
uh,
want to say
Greg,
outrightly.
Greg, on that last point that you brought, that you just said, can I just add something else before you go forward? I don't want to take long or mess up your thoughts. Um, Not only are we accepting the safe haven individuals, as if they are just regular individuals, they are the ones that are the hardcore so-called criminals, according to these people, that they don't want. So we have to deal with them. We don't have the resource or the capability. Why is it that we are being afforded that? I would call it a privilege if I must be cynical. But I yield back, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett.
You're
But
welcome, Mr.
what
Greg.
I'm getting at is this. Why would you have a government who is seeking repatriation turn around and sign our country into a safe haven under the same people that got us there in the first place? It makes no sense to me because then when you do that, they are still shipping back your people home.
Mm-hmm.
I go back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Gregory Brackett. You know, your point is well taken about the third country repatriation. Well, not even repatriation, just sending them to us. We're just taking them. They're not repatriated. Um, and that has become somewhat problematic, I think, and it will continue to be an issue because, like you said, we are taking on other people's problem. We having to deal with the issues of development in our own country, and then
Mm-hmm.
we have our own citizens that are being sent back to Belize that we now have to um, find ways to accommodate in all these ways. Plus, we open our borders and are constantly regularizing people from Central America. So we're getting a double whammy in terms of not being able to get these individuals assimilate into the culture, not being able to have progressive forward thinking in terms of economic and industrial development, like you mentioned, and so it is leaving us quite vulnerable and exposed to a lot of the um, influences and the crime that is out there and international. And that I believe has also led to, because this is not an immediate thing now. This is a slow progression of returnees and all this that's been going on, and that has definitely contributed to the gang association and the violence. And I believe of some statistics I read is that over the last 10 years, um, we I think the estimate is that almost 3,500 people have been killed as a result of gang and street violence in the country. And I dare say that the vast majority, 90% and upwards of those people, are the Creole people
Mm-hmm.
of Belize. And so it seems to me that government is not doing enough to make sure that
There's an indifference, Mr. Chairman.
yes, yes. And also I'm thinking, you know, often this country, the United States, complain about people exporting stuff to their country, drugs and stuff. But what about the guns that's being exported to our countries? That's creating the mayhem in our streets, in our villages, in our towns, in our cities. And we seem to have no recourse of addressing that. I think it was recently they had a shipment of guns that was being facilitated by someone in a police department that went into Belize. I don't know what his relationship was, but apparently it was some confiscated weapons or some purchased weapon here in the United States and was shipped to Belize in barrels. So there's a lot going on that the indifference, like you said, Mr. Leonard Brackett, with our government is hastening the spiral that we're in, and we need to somehow get a government that's more attuned, that is more um, alert, and more willing to address the concerns. And part of this I want to roll into a little bit, but we'll come back to where we were, is the information that Nick has been putting out on various aspects of our colonial and history and or Belizean history that is so misguided and so incorrect, so wrong, and we need to make sure that we're
That's
being
by
fed.
design, sir. That is by design. It's not an
We need,
oversight.
yeah, we need to make sure that we're not being fed the constant garbage, and that we insist that they accurately um, provide our history, because what they're a group that is responsible to accurately give us our history. These people are being paid hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars are allocated to the protection and preservation and the proper dissemination of our history. And when they are starting out giving it wrong in these instances, then we're really at a loss. So I'll go to you, Mr. Leonard Brackett.
Thank you very much, sir. The uh, a lot of people don't believe that these issues that we're talking about here tonight, and especially how you present the program tonight, they don't accept the premise that there is an agenda behind the process. They have the belief that everything will work out if we only stay silent or continue to be um there's a term for it, docile.
That's yeah, compliant.
You know,
Yeah,
we in Belize, compared to our neighbors or the neighboring republics, all of whom had revolutionary wars in order for them to have become a country and get their borders established. In Belize, we didn't have that much of a bellicose, I would say, effort. We got our boundaries established mostly by means of, well, we got the country established by means of battles, yes, in the past, when some people pushed the Mayans them into the hinterlands, and some of our people were into the hinterlands of Peteng, as well as into the hinterlands of Livingston and Coban and all those areas, and into across the border in Mexico, into Bacalar and all those other areas like Chetumal, and where we were cutting material before we came back across the boundaries to what was negotiated as our
Cebu,
present
yeah,
boundary line. We were we
Saskatoon,
were beyond. We gave up territory back to those people for us in order to be left alone and be given peace.
yeah,
We did that in the Sarsouni areas. We had people that were part of the colonist stem who were living all the way past the Sarsoon on the other side towards Livingston,
yeah,
and we came back on this side of the channel of the Sarsoon as a means of peace, negotiated to acquire a settled and a stable border. We gave up what, in other words, had that agreement never been put together and negotiated, today date we probably would have been finding out that Livingston is part of Belize as a country. We would have found out that part of a big part of Petén in the Flores area would have been part of Belize or should have been part of Belize. Or we would have found out that Chetumal would have been another city in Belize itself.
Mm-hmm.
But we gave up all those things for peace sake because we're not a bellicose, a hostile, and a warmongering type people. All we want was to be left alone and given the opportunity to pay attention to our survival efforts. But the result is that these other countries, not only did they have revolutionary wars for um, what you call
Independence.
their independence, they had other wars among themselves and inside of their own country. They had um, what you call not independence war, but
Civil War. Civil
civil
War.
wars. As a matter of fact, just recently, Guatemala killed out almost 300,000 of their own civilians because they wanted to take away the territory from them to sell to some European companies for the European people them to do business and dispossess some of these Mayan peoples of their lands. Some of these same Mayan people was forced and driven over to our side of the territory, our side of the border, and came and lived with our local Mayans then. And they came over with this bellicose fight to survival type mindset. And now they want to encourage our local Mayans them to be on their side as Mayan brothers and sisters them and to come up against the Belizean government and the Belizean people to take away more land for themselves, not satisfied that they were given the opportunity to come and be safe on our side of the border, being protected by us. But now they are trying to balkanize our one little small country.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Brackett. Mr.
Welcome, sir.
Mr. Mr. Gregory Brackett, could you share some points with us?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say that Belize got its independence 1981, and we received that independence based on ideology with no substance. Because you can see where we are today. We have learned nothing from other countries that took their independence. And I'm saying this specifically to say, as I said before, Belize was a land of abundance. That is
Mm-hmm.
where majority of work came from, and it was prosperous. But even during those periods, we were cutting and not planting.
Mm-hmm.
We were economical, we were exporting, but we were not investing in early childhood education. We were not investing in factories, and we were not investing in technology. That is why we are where we are today. And since 1981, political parties that won election has created a designer system in which we are living in today.
Mm-hmm.
And that designer system is specifically designed to keep the low class in poverty while pretending to be helping through free education, as they say, giving school clothes and free meal at school, while running away from the constitutional responsibility that the government has.
Mm-hmm.
And that constitutional responsibility is external and internal policies. Past and present government has failed at external policies. How long have we been having this Guatemalan crisis? And internal policies, government has not get along with private sectors to create long-term jobs. So while you think you're aiding by saying, and it's a narrative, I hate to say it's a constant narrative you hear every time election is coming around. Oh, there is no reason why no kids should not be going to school. And they come up with all these things. You see the streets start get paving and all that crap, which happen only time
Close to
when
election.
there is election coming around.
Mm-hmm.
And people need to read between the lines. Because you started, Mr. Chairman, about Belizean Creoles becoming minorities. But the fact of the matter is migration because of the poor style of living in Belize with no economical gains, no factories, nothing to say I have a good job that I can do better. As we listen tonight, look at minimum wage and look at the price of gasoline. 3 hours at minimum wage to buy 1 gallon of gas. So imagine what the farmers are going through and other individuals. So I hope that we keep that in thought as to what is happening in this country. I
Thank
think,
you.
Mr. Chairman, that the great Belizeans who used to keep our government in check when they were mistreating the underprivileged, we will have both civil servants and locals go and strike, and the government had to heal. We have lost that, and governments has continued to do what they do. But I want to say this, Mr. Chairman, because I listen tonight on the news, and it seems to be a new firestorm rising. And with your permission, I want to go to this tape.
Please do, sir.
My constitution tell me that this democracy is of the people, mean we are taken from amongst us. By the people, we get to decide how we're governed, and for the people. So none of we Indian need to put Indian on ballot, sir. What we need to do is hold you accountable. Because if you think that you will reduce this democracy to a single day when we go cast, we vote, and then we're supposed to keep quiet for the rest, you're wrong. Not. You're wrong. We are the reason you have one job. We are the reason you have one job. And we are the reason all 31 of you all have a job and a salary in the house. So check yourself when you think you could come and tell we. But we need to put ourselves on the ballot. Because once there is breath in us, once there is breath in me, I will hold you accountable.
So there you go, Mr. Chairman. That fire should have been burning from 1981 to present. We never held our governments accountable. So I do hope we decide to do that. I go back to you, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you. Thank you.
may,
Yes,
may,
sir.
I, may I be given the opportunity to read a part of the Constitution to which
Yes, please.
all three of
Yes.
us previous just recently alluded to, so that people can hear not only the words that we have already just spoken to and said, but for them to hear what the Constitution itself says, which is exactly what we were articulating. But thank you for the privilege, sir, and I'll go ahead and read. And this is paragraph E of the Constitution of Belize at the preamble portion thereof. It goes on to say, we the people of Belize require policies of state, just as the union leader was saying just now, We, the people of Belize, require policies of state which protect and safeguard the unity, freedom, sovereignty and territorial integrity of Belize, semicolon, which eliminates economic and social privileges and disparities among the citizens of Belize, whether by race, ethnicity, color, creed, disability, or sex, which, which ensures gender equality, which protects the rights of the individual to life, liberty, basic education, basic health, the right to vote in elections, the right to work, and the right to the right of pursuit of happiness, which protects the identity, dignity, and social and cultural values of Belizeans, including Belize indigenous people, which preserves the right of the individual to the ownership of private property and the right to operate private businesses, which prohibit the exploitation of man or by the state, which ensures a just system of social security and welfare, which protect the environment, which promotes international peace, security, and cooperation among nations, the establishment of a just and equitable international uh, economic and social order in the world, with respect for international law and treaty obligations in the dealing among nations. And it goes on to, well, that's the end of that
Yeah. Well,
specific
thank you very
paragraph, and
much.
I'd like to leave it at that. But
Thank you very much.
those words command, demand, direct, and order our institution of governance to fulfill those obligations on behalf of us, the people of the country. Which is why, like the union leader just said, that's the reason why why they have a job. The elected officials then
Mhm.
to carry out what the constitution mandates of them to carry out. It's enshrined. It's not that they could carry it out or should carry it out if they want or they don't want. If they don't want to carry it out, it means they don't want to do their job. Get the devils out the way and move on. But they
Yeah.
want to be able to pretend that they're doing a job while ripping off the country, raping all the resources, as in the case where this minister of the environment, not environment, the one that
Natural.
gave his son, the one that gave his son the 30-year contract to exploit the lumber with
Yeah.
with another 30-year extension as first preference. 60 years. They don't have any equipment or nothing to do the job, but they're gonna take that contract that was given to his son, and his son gonna go ahead and sell it to the Mennonites then, or somebody else that has the equipment and pick up
Yeah.
a few $1 million easily in his pocket.
Yeah.
That's criminal. That's raping and pillaging the country. But I yield back to bunch of
Thank you
rascals.
very much. You did make a good point, Mr. Gregory Brackett. The the educational system of our country is quite antiquated, and we need to find ways to address it and to, I believe, more democratize our educational system and other areas of our government and institutions that we have. So because the needs of one district in terms of education is not the same as the needs for every we have a small population and our country is small, but really there's a lot of diversity within the needs of these districts in terms of how they need to prepare their citizens for education and what offering should be available for them. So I do believe that we need to considerably look at our educational system and how it's organized and structured so that the districts and the local school boards and town boards and those spaces can set programs for their education of their students and the citizens of those districts. And Mr. Flowers, the union president, I say to him, it's better late than never because there was an opportunity that the unions had when many activities was going on just ahead of the last general election.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying to vote one way, but I'm saying to have hold government accountable in many ways, right? But after they were promised
A
a
solution to the
increase,
problem.
yeah, after they were promised an increase and all that type of stuff,
Uh,
whatever challenges they had just dissipated. So um,
Mr.
the
Sorry, Mr.
so
Chairman. Oh, sorry, Mr. Chairman.
yes.
In a sort of way, they are bounded or bind by the rules and the regulation under which their employment is categorized. That is that they can only strike for cause. They cannot strike
Oh, I'm not talking
on,
about
you know.
striking.
No, no, no,
I,
wait. Because they were at a point where they could have struck and bring down the government or struck and pressure the government to accede to a resolution to what their problem was, which turned out partially. But I'm saying, so long as the government satisfies the demands of the union, then the union don't have a justification for striking or bringing pressure on the government,
well,
you know, and
let's
that's
put
the
it,
canard that they find themselves
I,
in.
no, the unions and they're pressing it now. They're coming to a consciousness that they don't have. It's not only rights for union workers and workers' right issues. They have a responsibility for national issues. If and they, he pointed out, Mr. Floss pointed it out, and and he's marching in that direction when he said he's going to hold the government officials accountable not only at on election day but throughout the entire year of their or years of their governance. They have an obligation and responsibility to the people, and that's the rights I'm talking about. They have more than just the rights to advocate for higher wages. They have a right to advocate for the proper administration of our country, the proper um, exercise of our laws, and to make sure that the government is not wastefully spending our money. They have that responsibility, and they can take action on any of those issues.
Yes,
I'm
but
not.
they first have to have justifiable cause,
I
and then they
understand
can
all
mount,
that, Mr. Brackett.
and then they can add on top of those justifiable cause other causes. But they have to have a primary justifiable cause for them to go on strike, and unless
Mr.
the
Brackett,
public,
Mr. Brackett, if government is not spending our money correctly, every citizens have a right to make sure that the government is held accountable. And you don't have to be covered in a union cloak to
That is
make that
correct, Mr. Morrison.
Mhm,
demand. So
mhm.
I am not going to swallow that they can only react if it's a workers type action, and their only justification to
There,
demonstrate and let
there,
me finish and
uh,
address the government is if they're not getting the wage they're requesting.
yes,
Go
but
ahead.
under international,
Mr. Chairman,
Greg, just a second, Greg, under international union laws and regulations, because these unions join the international
I think you're forgetting
bodies,
Gdansk
right?
shipyard, Mr. Brackett. I think you're definitely forgetting Gdansk shipyard when the in Poland when the union
No,
brought the
I did
government.
not. I'm not forgetting it.
Well, you're telling me
I'm accepting
but,
the premise. I accept
okay.
the premise as you first related it. I was just trying to clarify that in order for them to justifiably not breach any, because they can. Let me not. Let me leave it at that for right now.
Okay, thank
Let's
you.
stay with the point the way you presented it. Let's leave it
Yeah.
at that for right
Please,
now.
please, Mr. Gregory Brackett, please join the conversation.
Mr. Chairman, I would take it further than that. As I said before, and also on many platforms, we need to establish a 5 years moratorium where contracts can only be signed for 5 years when you become a
The government,
minister
Yeah,
in government.
right?
yeah,
We
yeah.
also have to amend our constitution to bring into law that the prime minister of Belize should not be the finance ministers. We should create jobs. We have graduates from the University of Belize and Galen. We should have a finance department that runs our finance and do what is called a check and balance. If we have this, we will not be having misappropriation of funds
Yeah.
because we can then see exactly where they go. That is what I would hope would happen, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You know that I agree with you fully on the role of the
Checks
finance
and
minister,
balances.
but also I believe we give these ministers too much opportunity to dabble with our money. They should not be in any way directing how money is being spent throughout our entire economy. They set policies, and the permanent secretary or the CEO should be the person that is responsible for the funds. And we need to make stronger that separation and that functional role of those executive officers, whether it be the permanent secretary or the CEO that we currently have instituted. You wanted to say something, Mr.
Yes, I was gonna say exactly as you stated lastly that the CEO are currently the ones responsible for looking over the financial status of the different departments. No, but the truth of the matter is, I agree with Greg that that would be a good idea to not have the prime minister be the person that's spending the money and deciding who gets what. But the way we have it set up right now is that the prime minister appoints the ministers, and he always grabs the Ministry of Finance. There was a time when Mr. Ralph Fonseca was Minister of Finance, and he was not prime minister. So it's always possible for the prime minister not to take that office and allow some
Well,
other
I want
independent
to say
person.
that wasn't a very good example because he did run amok and abuse that
the
ministerial
G
post
the
anyway.
G7
Yeah, yeah.
crisis in the country. But anyhow, that was a
Mr. Chairman,
nice
and to add
discussion.
to that, this is why I'm saying we have our general election every 5 years. We should elect the chairman, the CEO, and members of the Social Security Board every 5 years. We change them. We
That
should
Greg,
we should do
Greg, I think
stuff
you and
like
I had a
this.
conversation on that point, and I think we had arrived at or settled on a more realistic possibility. Because if we have them elected, the people with the money going to elect and put into those offices, who will work with them to continue doing just what we're having today. The point is that we need to have people who are of different, let's say, political reasons. If you have three PUP being the winner of the government, and two UDP, and one independent person assigned to any particular commission or statutory bodies, you will have people that will be looking over each other's shoulder, even though you have a majority that could govern. The idea is that right now, the way it's set up, the people that are being appointed by the prime
But
minister, they all are in favor of the prime ministers, or they are the beck and call of the prime ministers, or the behest of the prime minister, and that is, that's what's causing us our problem currently.
but that is why I'm saying what I'm saying, sir.
Uh-huh.
I want to completely take that away from political parties.
Well, you
We
know,
should be able to have regular Belizeans. We have attorneys, doctors, smart Belizeans that we can have appointed through general election to run these departments.
yeah. Well, I hear what you're saying, Mr.
It's an
Mr.
option.
Gregory Brackett, but
It's an option, but
I do believe that I don't have a problem with the prime minister appointing them, whichever party. But I do believe we need to make it more independent, if he and more equal, so that, like Mr. Brackett said, Mr. Leonard Brackett said, that if it's a three-man board or a seven-man board, that we are able to
independent mind or some kind
get
of person that's look over
pretty
the shoulder
well.
or could
Yeah,
tell us what's happening.
yeah.
Somebody to tell us what they're
Let me
doing
finish.
behind the
Let me
closed
finish.
door.
Let me finish.
Yes, sir.
That we could get a sort of balance so that we get proper representation. But I pointed this out 2 weeks ago, that I also believe that what we need in these appointments of these boards, these statutory boards, or these boards that are make up these public, quasi private organizations like BTL and WASA and these other
Mm-hmm.
places, that we also are able to have the ability to recall these individuals for cause if there is some reason to believe that they did not act in the interest of the people, not only for malfeasance, but if we could put enough evidence and if the public is sufficiently satisfied that they are not acting with the difference of their concern, that they could be recalled. So that would then give us the ability to structure those organizations so that they do act with the consideration of the citizens in general. You
I
want to say
agree with
something?
you. I agree with you 100% on that proposition, Mr. Chairman, and that we do need, as a matter of fact, to not have a situation where, like, for example, right now, where people are demanding that Mr. Bacon Man, Zariaga,
Mr. Lizaraga.
either resign or be fired. Why?
Yeah,
Because he did not serve that position correctly in the interest of the public and the people of the country. Who
yeah,
own those shares? He is supposed to be there to look after the interests of the people. He did not. He was
yeah,
looking after the interests of the prime minister who appointed him
yes.
and the prime minister's family and Mr. Ashcroft and other.
And
And
his
he's
brother.
telling us,
And,
yeah,
and
and
his
he's
brother.
and so what I'm trying to get at though by bringing that forward is the fact that don't care who appoints them, if they're honorable people and are willing to do what's right, then we can trust them to do what's right. But if they're coming out on the front end and lying to us, not knowing that they're going to be caught lying and proving that they are a shyster, then we don't need shysters that are proven to be shysters to be running our affairs. Because that's when you end up with problems. And
Yeah.
therefore, I think the man at the least should be fired, should walk away on his own, or should be fired by the prime minister, even though he was trying to help the prime minister agenda,
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
prime minister himself. As I think last week I said it. Someone need to be in jail.
Yeah.
He can't claim that he
Yeah.
didn't know what was
Yeah.
happening in his department and all this kind of racketeering stuff was going on back there. That means that he's taking our
Yeah.
money and not doing our job. He's
Mi-
stealing from us.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
And I don't
Yes,
have no
Mr.
problem
my
Brackett.
telling
good
him to his
cousin,
face.
you said something great about lying. But when you have a prime minister who does not see it your way and is willing to go with it, then what you do? It's a good thing you brought that up because I want to prove that word lie that you said.
Mhm.
Mr. Chairman, let's listen to this.
Did they do anything wrong? They did not, but again, I think you all are jumping ahead of your time. The board did not decide to buy SpeedNet at that moment. The board decided to do more due diligence to see whether it was feasible to be able to buy. There was a decision was not made at that time with the board to buy, and so I don't know. So what is it that they did wrong?
Well, there's a
Can
general.
we have another question?
Greg,
I stop
Greg,
it right there,
wait,
Mr.
wait, wait,
Chairman.
Greg,
Wait,
wait.
hold up,
Will you just,
Mr. Brackett. I stop it right there because I want to prove him
oh,
lie.
man.
I want to prove him wrong,
In
not
his own
lie.
words.
I want to prove him wrong
Oh,
right here
man.
tonight. Listen to this. I want you to listen to it
Consummate
keenly.
liar. Consummate liar.
We're not going to be a monopoly
Why would you say that?
because the law provides for what they call an MVNO. Help me out here, MCO. But MVNO basically means you, Paul, want to open a telephone service for company Paul. You can come to BTL. You will use our network because we have capacity. And Paul brand could be one brand out there using our backbone. You could come up with your own telephone company. Anybody could do it.
Controlled by
By
your
you.
system.
Yeah, not controlled. The services.
It sounds to me like that man just defined that out to be
I want to say
because
something.
that's what's happening currently. That's the
Mr.
status
Chairman,
quo.
you heard it?
Yes, I did. I want to say something because very importantly,
Oh man,
there's no indication of a non-compete clause after we would have acquired. I don't even want to talk about it, but there's so much corruption because we don't know what they were going to do. They could have sell SpeedNet to us and then turn around and buy
Miss
Starlink and then put themselves in
Mr.
competition.
Chairman, though, the truth of the matter is they are caught up in their own lies.
that's the man in real
He
agenda,
said
Mr.
nobody
Chairman.
did nothing
Exactly.
wrong. He specifically said yeah and catch himself up. If
Let's,
the Prime Minister is saying they didn't put it through
oh,
to
Lord.
buy it, but here
Yeah,
you have the CEO saying, even calling MVNO,
yeah, yeah.
specifying the law that will give them the right that don't even exist.
He misspoke. The man misspoke, man. Give,
I go
give the
back
man a
to
little
you,
chance.
sir.
Thank you. The other thing, we'll never resolve this issue today on where we are with the Creole people, how to give them more advocacy and how to make sure that the government is representing them and is giving due consideration to them, that it's also addressing their concerns and making it such that some of the ills that is plaguing that society, lack of opportunity, lack of education, the crime, the burden of the police institutionalization and aggression on them. All these are issues that needs to be addressed by our government. But I want to talk a little bit before the night ends, a little bit about the killing, the dying off of the aquatic,
The fish them.
the fish in the river. So we have seen it, and we know that this is not the first time. I think this is probably the third time that I could remember that this is happening. It happened
It
about
happened twice
25, 30 years ago when the
to
nail
a hill.
factory. No, it happened first when the nail factory had dumped some of the galvanized
Uh-huh.
residue into the
Into the
into the
river.
river, and
Uh-huh.
it killed off the cattle. Uh, and then it happened again about 10 years ago when some overflow from the
To a
sugar
hill.
factory
Uh-huh.
contaminated the water. But even then, it was less compared. I don't know. With AI today, you don't know if all you're seeing is really true or if somebody just did something and multiplied so much fish and stuff. But nevertheless, it seems like it's a very, very extended and extensive um, kill of it. And this affects the entire balance of the river, and it
Uh,
will affect it for a very long period of time. So
Mr.
I want
Mr.
to,
Chair, Mr.
yes,
Chairman,
yes,
um, they never figure out that thing they happen until long after the fact when they got people along that river use that water for drink, for bathe, for cook, for
yeah, yeah,
everything. A lot of people don't have other water options, no?
yeah,
And it was only after they saw all this dying off of the marine uh, um, animals then
hmm,
that people start bring it to the attention of the government and ask for questions, get answered, and
yeah,
a study being done or whatever. But the bottom line is that that stuff initially could have been some kind of what they call poison or veneno, because a lot of people that grow or something is it's just something. I don't know if maybe I pull out my power stuff, but
no, I could
anyway,
hear you. We could hear you. We
yeah,
could
no,
hear you.
the power. It give me a message here on my computer that the power is
Oh, you're
going.
losing
It's
power.
about to go off. Yeah, and try to survive and try to give up the tire quickly before I lose it. The problem is that a lot of people along that river, like I said, use that water for a lot of different reasons. But normally, a little bit of chemicals and poisons that they kill grass and kill other things on the main, on the, people spray the thing with those things get into the waterway, but
Yes,
not in the volume or the capacity or quantity to cause this level because those rivers are like so many feet deep and so much feet wide that the amount of
yeah,
chemicals to cause that
yeah,
level of devastation has to be a large number. It
yes,
cannot be any of those small things. It has to be either the big cane farming place when they spray the cane on our because there's like big farming concern. There's one
Now,
Santander have their one cane, and there's
yeah,
another big company right near Santander that is plant cane for them. But Santander have what you call some ponds, special
yeah, yeah,
lined ponds.
yeah,
But the
yeah, yeah,
water goes into one pond and then to the next pond and the next pond. And when you have excess water like we've been having recently, all those ponds get overfull or they get flooded.
yeah.
And the strong chemical is what gets into the river before it gets cleaned up or cleared out. And now we have
Yeah, yeah,
some of the
yeah.
people pretending that they don't understand or know where to go on because they don't want to blame the people at fault.
Yeah, the issue I have with it, Mr. Leonard Brackett, is that all the people is asking for the government is to report back and tell us what's happening, so that we are aware
Then
of
they will
it,
start
so
using
that
water again.
so that proper measures could be taken
Yeah.
if it is, and where it's coming from. And they're making it seem so difficult that they can't tell you what the cause is.
Mr.
It is
Chairman.
easy. Let me finish just this one thought, Mr. Brackett. It
Mhm.
is quite easy to determine and to
Oh,
take
shucks.
tests and to see if there is sufficient oxygen in the water. It's quite easy to get specimen of the animals that were killed and to see do a toxicology test to see
Yep.
what level of toxicity and is in the tissue of
Stream.
these
Yeah.
dead animals. So
Uh-huh.
so with our experts just bumbling on, rumbling on, and not able to tell us something with clarity and with definition, is just poor on them, and it makes me go, why are we paying these people? Go on, Mr. Gregory Brackett.
And
Thank,
it wasn't
thank
only
you, sir.
Let,
it wasn't
let,
only
let
just
me
fish. We have
let Mr. Brackett go,
yes sir,
Leonard.
yes
Mr.
sir, yes sir.
Chairman, I believe what the government experts are saying, as they call themselves, is ludicrous. I will tell you why. That is why I study and I read. I will not buy that there was no oxygen in the water because you have something called crocodile
Yep.
that also goes on land with a body weight much bigger
And the
than
fishes.
those fishes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
So
they died out too.
whatever is in the water or was in the water that kills the crocodile also is really at a high capacity.
We
You're
could
right.
we could find out in
So
the future
I
that
will
some of
not
them people
buy
have
that.
skin cancer. They have bodily cancer internally because they swallow the water or for a lot of different reasons because they didn't know what was happening until long after the fact.
The point is, Mr. Brackett, if you look at the body weight of the crocodile to the fishes
Yeah. Yeah.
and it killed the crocodile,
Yep.
it has to be at a high rate when
Concentrated, very
you
And
concentrated.
when
and
you
the,
put the weight category together.
and
Mm-hmm.
the other point, Mr. Brackett, both of you, is that a crocodile doesn't have to live in the water. So if I'm sure those animals have native instinct. If they can't breathe in the
Yep.
water, they'll go on
Yep.
the land. So it tells me, without too much knowledge, that it's something
Something
in
was
the
severe.
water
Something
that's
was severe.
in the river that's killing them, and it's not oxygen. It's some type of.
And it wasn't in a short space, a short span of the river either. It was a long span,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
which
It's
means
a
that
very.
it has to be concentrated to such a point where it's contaminating that much of the river. I yield back, sir. Uh,
Thank you,
Gre-
thank you.
um,
Please, Mr. Gregory
uh,
Brackett.
Greg, um, could you, Mr. Chairman, um,
Yes.
you're just about at the point of wrapping it up, or you have something else that you want to do quickly?
No, that
Well,
that that
Let
that.
well,
me
we
let me
are
just to
there.
close it.
I would want the chairman to finish with his thoughts since we
That's what I
are
was trying to
there,
do. That's what I was trying
you
to get into.
know.
Okay. Okay.
So
Well,
we
well.
give you the floor, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, and thanks to our audience, either in Belize or in throughout the diaspora. You know, we bring these issues to you weekly and during the week to sort of stir this thinking that we must all have and come to recognition that Belize is in a very dire strait at this moment because of all that's going on. And all that's happening is not necessary. We could be having we definitely have shortage and we'll definitely have issues of satisfying all the needs of our people, but it is made worse. It is worsened by the greed that is being expressed every single day by those that we elect to govern us. They mismanage our economy, they mismanage our finance, they mismanage our politics, they mismanage our laws, our governance in every way. And we need to step up and as the president of the union says, Mr. Flowers, we're not only to exercise our franchise of voting on election day, but our job and our responsibility is to hold them accountable to every act that they do on behalf of the people. That is their responsibility, and it brings with us, for us, our responsibility. And our responsibility is to make sure that they are held accountable. It is not just on election day, and that is one of the reasons why we need to make sure that we also hold the government, but also those we elect throughout our parliament, including the opposition, including those that are appointed as senators, including those that are appointed to boards that are supposed to represent and held in trust the interests of the people. And once we are fully cognizant and recognize our responsibility, then we need to exercise it. So thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, before you close up, sir, can I say one statement more?
Yes, sir.
I would hope that somehow or another, because our country needs a government, regardless of who is the government, that any such government that we have would be working in the interest of the people and do what's right on behalf of the people. We currently have a PUP government. All I would like to ask is that they do the best they can. Nobody's asking them to come to do no miracles or to stop thieving altogether. Pay attention to the people's business while they do the thieving, at least as a minimum. It would be bad enough, but at least not as bad as it is right now, where they're not paying attention to the people's business while they still steal from away. They steal the hall and pull the system and marginalize us and making us less than we could have been. All I'm asking for is that whoever is the government of the day, just do the best they can and let people be happy to be able to praise them for the good that they're doing, rather than for people to be holding grievance for the wrongs that they're doing, because they don't have to do as much wrong. Do a little less wrong and a little more good. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gregory Brackett. I turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for presenting an important topic tonight. It's always a pleasure sitting with you guys virtually. I want to thank those of you at home and abroad who watch your programs. I hope that you will learn something from it and you will discuss those topics to other individuals to help make Belize a better place. With that said, I want to say good night to you.